Cassie Talks. And today I'm here at the research lab and I'm going to interview Sarah Bowers about the type of work they do at the lab and how they help patients and what their plans are for the future. Hope you enjoy! So I'm here with Sarah at the Kelly Brown lab and I'm going to interview her and she's going to interview me back. So how did you come to work in the Brown lab? Like, what did you study in school or are you studying?
Yeah, so I studied biochemistry at the University of British Columbia and I just graduated with my Bachelor of Science degree in May. So I'm a new UBC grad. And then this fall I'm going on to study my master's in integrated immunology at the University of Oxford.
Very cool. How did you first get involved in the research at the lab?
Yeah, so I was really lucky to have Dr. Brown as an instructor for the first half of an immunology course that I took at UBC. And there weren't many courses in my program where we talked specifically about rheumatic diseases or rheumatic diseases in kids especially, but I was really interested in a few of the examples that Dr. Brown gave in class, and just left wanting to learn more. So that's kind of how I first got interested in rheumatology and kids' rheumatic diseases.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then I guess how I first actively got into the lab was I had the opportunity to be a Center for Blood Research summer student.
Oh, cool.
So that was in the summer of 2018, and that was my first summer in the lab. And then the next 2 summers I got to be a Faculty of Medicine summer student in their research program, and also did my honors thesis work in my 4th year in Dr. Brown's lab. So those are the times that I've gotten to be in the lab and how I've continued to be involved.
Yeah.
How about you? What are you interested in? Do you have any idea about what you might want to go on and do as a career? Or
So at school, my favorite subject I think would be science.
Yeah.
So biology mostly. Yeah, that really interests me. And I think what I would like to do would be a pediatric rheumatologist.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of those in my life and I have experience, I guess you could say. And I think it would be cool to help kids and I can sort of understand what they're going through, relate to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
sure.
that's what I'd want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That would
So
be one of my options.
You do feel a bit like having JA has prepared you or interested you in certain ways for
and
certain careers.
I mean, I've gone through that physical exam so many times I can do it in my sleep.
You're ready to go.
Yeah. So what does the research in the Brown lab look like? What does it mean to be doing patient-oriented rheumatology research?
So the Brown lab, we study rheumatic diseases in kids, so that's diseases like juvenile idiopathic arthritis, or JIA, as well as others like lupus, vasculitis, autoinflammatory diseases. And our lab is trying to find markers in the body, or you might have heard them be called biomarkers, that could guide or personalize the use of current treatments for children with rheumatic diseases. Kind of like what people might be more familiar with in cancer, or being done for cancer. Our markers would allow doctors to know immediately, as soon as a kid or an infant has symptoms, the kind of arthritis it is, or how severe it is.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, what treatments are best, or in what dose.
Yeah.
And I guess this kind of could mean that kids teens like you could have fewer visits to the hospital, milder symptoms, less severe side effects from drugs, and then what treatments are best there and in what dose.
Yeah. And how many people work in the lab with you?
So our lab is definitely a team up there. We have currently 3 graduate students, a research manager, visiting, or I guess a lab manager, a visiting scientist from Sweden, as well as, of course, scientist Dr. Kelly Brown. We also have students that join as part of co-op or work terms that are high school students or at university as well. Last year we had a clinician scientist who joined us, who was funded by a Cassie and Friends International postdoctoral fellowship. So that was really cool.
Wow.
And then also just really close connections with the clinical research team. So the clinicians, the fellows, the nurses. So it's very much a team effort.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Do you have anything that you would like to share with researchers, or anything that you want researchers to know about what it's like to live with JIA?
I think like kids with JIA or teens, what they would like want to be like discovered would be like obviously a cure, but like other things that could be found along the way that would be helpful. A lot of painkillers and stuff that we have that we can use, and like there's many options, but I think things that would be more helpful would be like things that don't have solutions yet. So like other ways to help with like the nausea with methotrexate, for example, or like Humira that's less stingy or something like that.
Yes.
Also, like I think something that would be really cool would be if injections could be turned into pills.
Yeah.
Because like the injections are a bit annoying
Yes.
to get all the time. So like, yeah, I think that would be a good thing.
That definitely makes sense. So those would be some of the things that you want researchers to study.
Yeah. What are some ways that you engage people in your research and patients? And what are some ways that your lab shares their results?
So I guess like for a more scientific audience, we do what many, if not all, research labs do. We write papers and we do oral and poster presentations. We attend conferences. But we also communicate with patients and families, and so that includes through things like panels at Cassie and Friends Family Days, as well as interacting with people at Cassie and Friends runs, albeit virtually this year, but that's still a really big special part of our year that we all look forward to.
How do you encourage young scientists to get engaged in research?
I think, well, people that are looking to get engaged in research in general, like adults and kids alike, just need to ask questions like you do, and find sources that you can trust. So scientists put a lot of effort into their work, so many of us are really excited to talk about it too. In the Brown Lab, like specifically what we try to do is engage kids in research by generating kind of like excitement and interest, and part of that is by doing science outreach activities and initiatives. So we just filmed a fun science activity that you can do at home, so if you haven't tried it yet, you should give it a go.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. I think like most importantly what I would communicate to people like you that are interested in going on in science, if you're interested in biology or being a pediatric rheumatologist, is just that, you know, it's really important to pursue things that you're passionate about, and then don't give up. Like, just go for it if that's what you want to do. It's like a few of the things that we do to engage people in our research, but like what do you do to get engaged in research, or how do you, I know you're interested in finding out more about what researchers are doing to cure JIA, so is there anything in particular that you do?
I think like mostly how I find out about the research would be from my parents, and also the clinic. Like when I go and I ask them a question, then they're gonna tell me an answer that is from like research, and also Cassie and Friends. Like not really the youth panel, but just at Cassie and Friends and on the website there's like a lot of places where you can find out about the research.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. And do you have any, I guess, specific ideas for things that could maybe help kids become more engaged in research that's going on in places like here at BC Children's Hospital Research Institute?
I think like because a lot of kids are on like social media, so like that's probably like a good place to share it as well, sort of to, like attract more kids so they'll see it, I guess.
For sure.
And also like less big words so that kids can understand.
Noted. Yes, noted. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and like short videos, because like I know I don't have a very long attention span, so and a lot of kids don't, so like short videos and stuff like that I think would be good.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. And I know like you're interested in dance, and I'm interested in dance too. I was just wondering if you can think of any roles that more artistic means of communication might have in that, because I'm thinking about dance, or also like the Cassie and Friends puppet show that you guys
the puppet
do.
show is a great one. I mean, like, this isn't so artistic, but like online game,
Yeah.
sort of. Like that sort of could be a good way to engage kids so they can sort of understand. Because I know, like, when I was little, I would play a lot of those like online games, like on like the computer.
Yeah.
So like, I think that could be a cool way. It would be hard to do, but I think that could be a cool way to share the research.
Yeah, no, I really like that idea. I think that's awesome because I also, I share that feeling that, finding ways to engage people in what you might consider non-traditional ways, like communicating science on Twitter or on Instagram, super important, but also just more fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially for younger people.
Yeah, definitely.
So why is it so important for us to get people engaged in patient-oriented rheumatology research? Like, how can it help researchers?
Well, I think we really need to get people involved that will continue to advocate for children and their families with rheumatic diseases. And I think it's extra important for these diseases that are rare in kids. And they're not always visible to others, so they also have really severe impacts on health and quality of life. And for us as researchers, having excitement and interest in rheumatology research is really important because it helps generate support for our initiatives. And a second thing would be like generating growth in the number of scientists that are actually in the laboratory doing research on childhood rheumatic diseases. So in Canada, there's only 3 laboratories that are dedicated to researching rheumatic diseases in children. So that's why it's extra special to be here. But there's also, there's laboratories in Toronto, Saskatoon, and here at BCCH. And I think one of the ways that engagement in rheumatology patient-oriented research could help would be by leading to increased educational opportunities. If there's higher demand from scientists and clinicians in training, specifically scientists getting into the laboratory and doing their training.
And how can it help kids and families at Cassie and Friends?
Well, I think one of the goals of patient-oriented research is really to answer the questions that matter most to you guys. So the questions that matter most to patients and families. And then in order to do that, we need to hear from patients and families. So sitting down, having conversations like you and I are today, really opening up those lines of communication, but also, sharing knowledge so that people feel like they can ask educated questions is also really important. And I think ultimately that's what we need to do to be able to inform decisions about what we can do as a group to accomplish our goal, which is to help get kids and teens better lifelong health.
Thank you for speaking with me today. This is Sarah Bowers and I'm Cassie Fort. And thank you for taking the time out of your day to speak to me.
Oh no, thank you.
I hope it was helpful for you. It was definitely helpful for me. And this future is just very important to me. And if this future is important to you and you want to find ways to get engaged or support, you can always make a donation to Cassie.